CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Mekovic.
And we start with breaking news. A suspect is now in custody after a shooting on the campus of Florida State University. That suspect was shot in an exchange of gunfire with police. Social media video shows people running across the street right after that happened. The shooter was reported in the area of the Student Union at around noon Eastern time, and the school sent out an alert to all staff and students telling them to shelter in place. We know at least 6 people were sent to the hospital, at least one of them in critical condition. So far, no details about the suspect nor the victims have been released. Tomorrow marks 100 days since San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie took office, and he took to the podium at Civic Center today to talk about the progress he's made in the city, his priorities since taking office, public safety, and boosting the local economy.
With a safe, bustling downtown, we will attract businesses and visitors. We will create jobs. We will generate revenue and provide a better quality of life for everyone. We are trending in the right direction. Street encampments are dropping, and violent crime is down 15%.
Lurie went on to say that this is not a victory lap. This is a progress report.
You can't solve what you can't see. And I'm going to keep walking and talking to people each and every day until public safety and public faith is restored.
Now, we brought you Mayor Lurie's address live within the past hour, streaming on CBS News Bay Area. You can find us 24/7 by going to kpix.com or through the free CBS News app. The clock is ticking for people who still have to get that Real ID. That is the form of identification that will soon be necessary to board a domestic flight. Our Veronica Macias reports from the DMV in Fremont, which opened early today to try to handle the rush.
This is one of 2 offices in the Bay Area opening their doors early at 7 a.m. to help people meet that deadline of May 7th to get their Real IDs. Making the process even smoother for you is if you take the initiative, go online, register for the Real ID, and upload your documents. Otherwise, you're going to be faced with a very long line. These people here at this Fremont office arriving very early this morning and also being told at the door they won't be able to go in unless they have those documents. Of course, the Real ID being required to fly, but you can use your passport. Yesterday, we saw long lines at the DMV of people getting in line for that Real ID, and some of them telling us that they procrastinated until the last minute, others telling us that they've had it for years.
I'm here because I'm finally waiting to the last minute to get a Real ID. I know it ends in May sometime, and I am trying to get that done because I'm going to Greece.
We've had our Real ID, both of us, for years, and mainly we used it for travel and going down to Texas and stuff where her family is, and it's just made it easier to travel.
All right, taking a live look at Wall Street. The big board stocks are down right now. The Dow down almost 400 points this afternoon. And here is a look at the top 500 stocks. This heat map, we call it, courtesy of FinViz. Red meaning a stock is down, green meaning it's up. The stock market is closed tomorrow for Good Friday. The White House continues to defend its tariff policy, even as it faces the new lawsuit announced by Governor Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta. The president is lashing out at Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell over his comments that tariff uncertainty could pose a risk to the economy. Natalie Brandt has the latest from the White House.
President Trump met with Italy's prime minister at the White House today to discuss tariffs. The president has been touting negotiations with trading partners and attacking Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell for highlighting the risk and uncertainty around the policy.
The level of tariff increases announced so far is significantly larger than anticipated, and the same is likely to be true of the economic effects.
Powell says that could include higher inflation, slower growth, and higher unemployment. Though he didn't use the term, those factors raise concern about stagflation.
it's a difficult place for central banks, to be in.
President Trump on Truth Social slammed Powell's report as wrong, saying the Fed chair's termination can't come fast enough. Powell's term as chair expires in 2026. The White House continues to defend its tariff policy, calling it a, quote, historic effort to address the national emergency of a persistent trade deficit.
And this just in, we now know the Supreme Court is going to hear arguments in May over President Trump's plan to impose restrictions on birthright citizenship. That executive order is going to remain on hold while the court considers the case. We'll be following that. Meantime, Medicaid is facing deep cuts as Congress is looking for ways to reduce the federal deficit. In San Jose, a lot of people came out calling to save the program. The joint federal and state program helps cover medical costs for people who don't make a lot of money. Just today, the House passed a GOP budget plan that could do away with $880 billion to programs including Medicaid. We heard from one speaker whose daughter relies on the program. She says her daughter was hospitalized overnight after experiencing a psychotic episode.
Well, they found out that she actually had something called PANDAS autoimmune encephalitis. Tessa is now brain damaged and is now living in a group home in Milpitas. And Medicaid pays for about 10 of her programs to keep her safe.
And speakers from nonprofits were there highlighting what they call devastating impacts that the cuts would have on children, seniors, and families. First alert weather now, taking a live look over Oakland. A little ominous out there with some of those clouds. It is certainly cool and breezy around the bay. Let's check in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
We're gearing up for 60s today in areas like Santa Rosa, Novato. 70s in store for us this afternoon, all the way from Concord over into Antioch. We have low 60s and upper 50s along the coastline and San Francisco, all the way down into Half Moon Bay. Still dealing with those cool, cloudy, and wet conditions this morning. I mean, that was the case over into San Francisco, too. We had some wet roads out there, making it a little bit challenging to get out there in the early morning hours for that commute. But here's what's happening for us into the next couple days. High pressure is moving in from offshore. That's going to do a couple things for us. It warms us up back into this weekend's forecast, and it dries us up, too. We're going to see sunnier skies right around the corner. We're also dealing with some light winds this morning. It really doesn't kick up too much more heading into this afternoon. At max, we could see about a 15 to 20 mile per hour wind gust just along the shoreline. Here's what we can expect into the next 7 days. Sunnier skies around the corner for Friday, heading into Saturday. We have 80s in store for us by Monday, and it's going to be a very nice weekend for us, just in time for Easter Sunday. Now, as you head over into the Bay, we're a little bit cooler, a little bit cloudier. 60s as we head into our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday forecast. More on that coming up in a bit.
Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. A federal judge says that Google is an unfair monopoly. What that ruling means for the Silicon Valley giant. Plus,
how a piano teacher has spread her passion for music through a 33-year-old competition. How she's inspired generations of musicians.
Developing story now in Southern California. The resentencing hearing for Eric and Lyle Menendez is now underway in Los Angeles. Even after prosecutors filed a motion to try to delay their case, the brothers are hoping a judge will reduce their life sentences for the 1989 murder of their parents at their home in Beverly Hills, claiming new evidence proves the killings were self-defense after years of sexual abuse. If the judge decides to shorten their sentence, the brothers would still need approval from the state's parole board to be released. We'll be following that hearing. A federal judge has found Google as an online illegal advertising monopoly. The judge ruled today the tech giant has been stifling competition and forcing online publishers to rely on its ad network. That comes after a judge ruled in a separate case the company has a monopoly over internet search services. A remedy hearing is set for Monday in that case on whether Google will need to break up its assets. Google is expected to appeal both cases. There's a woman in the East Bay who has been inspiring a love of music for more than 3 decades, with a competition that's drawn students from around the world. Sharon Chin introduces us to this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award winner.
For 83-year-old LeMay Liu, the piano is a place of creativity and expression.
Especially when you are alone, sad, you sit on the piano, or you pour your heart out, and that just took care of everything.
But in 70 years of teaching piano, she found motivating young students can be challenging.
The students who do classical music, they don't want to do too much. I'm tired of this piece, I can't do it. But if they're going for a competition, then it's completely different.
And when LeMay tried to enter students in competitions years ago, she encountered some unexpected dissonance.
Usually there are so many restrictions, so the students do not get anything out of it. Like, the teacher can only send in 3 students.
So she helped launch the U.S. Open Music Competition in 1992 to open access to more young musicians.
We had 400 the first year, without any advertisement.
Today, LeMay organizes the annual President's Day Weekend Contest. It draws more than 2,700 students a year from all over the Bay Area and world to a large church in the Oakland Hills. Top winners get a medal and scholarship ranging from $50 to $300 a prize, plus a chance to perform in a special concert. LeMay says participants fine-tune skills and expand their classical repertoire.
We actually had 35 adjudications, didn't we?
Jonathan Chow says competing years ago taught him how to perform under pressure. In addition, as his piano teacher, LeMay nurtured his talent as a composer. So he's even written music for the competition's sight reading category.
She certainly shaped me as a musician, a composer. She's really passed on her love and passion for piano and music to generations of students.
Some past competitors have gone on to music careers and returned to adjudicate the contest, like Fanti Jones, who teaches at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, and shares what she's learned.
If you win, great, your life moves on. If you lose, your life also moves on. This is a very valuable lesson that's not only in music.
And seeing the scale of the competition's impact brings LeMay joy beyond measure.
I see that they grow to become mature musicians or human beings.
So for inspiring thousands of students to pour their hearts into music through the U.S. Open Music Competition, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to LeMay Lu.
Very cool. And you can nominate anyone for a CBS News Bay Area Icon Award on our website, kpix.com/icon. All right, back to our first alert weather, because we are almost at the weekend. Let's take another live look outside at the city of San Francisco and check back in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, earlier this morning, we were dealing with some light showers along the coast, misty conditions widespread throughout the bay, but we're drying up this afternoon. We're just seeing partly cloudy skies throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight, with daytime highs today as we head over to the map, topping off mostly in the 60s in areas like San Jose and Fremont. The only place we're even seeing some 70s today is off into the East Bay near Antioch and Concord. The rest of us all the way up into the North Bay. As we zoom in, we're going to see Santa Rosa today topping off at 67 degrees, 63 all the way over into San Francisco. Now we're going to see small day-to-day changes in the forecast for us diving into this weekend, but it is worth noting we are warming up and drying up as early as tomorrow. Actually, high pressure starting to ridge its way in, and as that happens, we're going to see sunnier skies heading into this weekend's forecast, especially for our inland areas. We're also going to see some 70s return into the forecast too. Let's take a quick look at our inland forecast, starting off in the East Bay or the Santa Clara Valley. We're going to see sunshine as early as tomorrow for our Friday, and as we head into this weekend, we actually crank up the heat just enough to where we actually see 80s once we head into Monday. That area of high pressure ridges its way in, giving us dry skies each day. The Climate Prediction Center is showing drier than normal conditions throughout the next 6 to 10 days for us here in the Bay Area and pretty much all throughout the California coastline. Now we make our way over to the Bay. The only difference from the Bay Area versus some of our friends off into the inland spots, really it just comes down to those cloudy skies and a little bit cooler weather. So San Francisco topping off in the upper 60s heading into this weekend, as well as Oakland. We'll see some 70s as early as Monday heading into Tuesday, and we'll keep you updated on this forecast here in the Weather Center. For now, I'm going to send it right back over to you guys.
All right, thank you, Jessica. This came in this morning. Grammy-nominated comedian, actor, and podcaster Nate Bargatze is going to take on hosting duties for television's biggest night. The 77th annual Emmy Awards moves to CBS on Sunday, September 14th. So you can watch it right here on KPIX or stream it live on Paramount+. Coming up in our Health Watch, promising results for a first-of-its-kind weight loss pill. The new findings from the drug's maker and what they're saying about supply if it is approved. On the Health Watch, a new study shows promising results for a first-of-its-kind weight loss pill that could offer a possible alternative to those injectable drugs like Ozempic. Researchers from Eli Lilly say their daily obesity drug called Orforglipron is the first to complete a late-stage trial. The company found the highest dose of the pill helped patients with type 2 diabetes lower their body weight by an average of 16 pounds. And they say the drug could be readily manufactured worldwide.
With the injectables, you're talking about if you're paying out of pocket over $1,000 a month. Now, pills are much cheaper to manufacture. When you're talking about something that's injectable, it needs to be sterile, needs to be refrigerated. Lilly has already stockpiled over 1 billion pills of this new pill in advance of the demand.
Eli Lilly says it is looking to get FDA approval for its GLP-1 drug in 2026. And this is an interesting transition between stories coming up here on the Noon Edition. There's a new trend aimed to better savor the flavor of your Easter candy. We're going to check in on the Bunny's Haul for 2025 and how much those treats will cost you. Well, the National Retail Federation projects that the average consumer will spend almost $190 on Easter products this year. And of course, sweet treats make up the bulk of it at Mars Wrigley headquarters in New Jersey. Planning for this year's Easter candy started 2 years ago. They're responsible for 26 brands like Snickers and Skittles and M&Ms. They say that there is a procedure when you're taste testing ingredients or potential products, including salt-free crackers and water to cleanse your palate in between, and sometimes not swallowing.
You can't eat every product that you're tasting. So just like wine, we do sometimes have to use a spit cup.
Good to know. Not today, though.
Not today.
Not today and not on Easter. There's a lot on the line, though, with cocoa prices hitting record highs after bad storms and plant disease. Inflation has also driven up prices for other candies. All right, that is it for us today at noon. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Just go to Live and then choose Bay Area. Meantime, have a great Thursday.